Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. On today's episode, we have the second installment of the whiskeys and bourbons to look out for the month of September. Run the video. All right then, folks, thank you for joining us for another new and exciting episode here on the Whiskey Cove, where we are bringing you the second installment of this video, and that is the whiskeys and bourbons to look out for in the month of September. As we get closer to Christmas, we start seeing these epic lottery-style bottles being released, and we have a couple on today's list. If you haven't seen the first edition, definitely go back and watch that. It doesn't really matter what order you watch them, they're all different bottles. So after this video, go and watch that video there too. So we have more excellent bottles coming your way. And as always, we try to do a bit of a blend of some harder to find stuff, some allocated stuff, some easier to find stuff too. So you are armed with the knowledge when you go whiskey hunting, or just on the off chance to hit up a liquor store. You know what is being released, you know what to keep your eyes open for. With that being said, let's jump into today's video, shall we? First up, the Heaven Hill Parker's Heritage Collection. This is back for the 19th edition of this celebrated series, arriving in September with an official launch just passed in September 6th, which is at the distillery. However, since it's been released at the distillery, you can start to maybe expect to see it more nationwide. Yes, this might be held back for Christmas and holiday lotteries. However, there might be some stores that just put it out on the shelf there. So this is going to be a blend of 3 different mash bills and age statements. So definitely hold with me here. It includes a 15-year-old wheated bourbon, which has a mash bill of 68% corn, 20% wheat, and then 12% malted barley from Rickhouse A. Then it's going to have an 11-year-old corn whiskey, which is going to be 80% corn, 12% malted barley, and then 8% rye from Rickhouse's Double G, Double D, and Double B. And then lastly, a 12-year-old 2-grain whiskey made up of rye and malted barley aged in Rickhouse Y. Wasn't able to find out what the mash bill is on that one, so we'll kind of have to maybe make some assumptions and guesses. And because of course that the youngest component of this whiskey is 11 years old, this Parker's Heritage carries an age statement of 11 years, albeit it has older age stated whiskey in it. Just the way the whiskey works, we have to call it whatever the youngest distillate is in there, and that is the 11 age of that kind of rye and malted barley 2-grain whiskey there. This is going to be carrying in the ABV proof point of 61.25% ABV, or 122.5 proof. It's going to be non-chill filtered for you wonderful people. This is of course a limited edition bottle. I haven't really been able to get much Parkers in the past. I've seen them and I've passed on them to get maybe better stuff. However, I was able to get the wheated bourbon from quite a few years ago, and I was able to also get the orange Curacao ones, both very good there. So this limited edition is designed to showcase the bold flavors and Heaven Hill's blending expertise. This is going to have a suggested retail price of $179.99. Hopefully, you wonderful people out there are able to find it for that suggested retail price, and you're not paying too much more over the odds. While allocation on this might be tight, it will be seen in distribution markets at select US retailers, maybe like the big box retailers, maybe some of the smaller stores as well. So definitely keep your eyes open for this, because this is a bottle that you always want to try to grab. And as always with this Parker's Heritage Collection, it honors the late master distiller Parker Beam, with proceeds supporting the ALS research and patient care, ensuring that each year's release represents both innovation and lasting legacy there too. So money going back to a very, very good cause indeed. And then next up, we have a new release from the Michter's distillery, and that's because they are back with their Michter's US Toasted Barrel Finish Sour Mash Whiskey. For 2025, they release it most years, and this is the 25 release edition. So this is the US Toasted Barrel Sour Mash Whiskey. It is a limited bottling that showcases the distillery's unique finishing techniques, crafted from their signature sour mash base that they use for some some of their other products as well, like the sour mash bourbon shelfer that you might be able to find from time to time. This whiskey undergoes an additional toasting in new charred American oak barrels on top of its regular oak barrels, enhancing the depth, the sweetness, and the aromatic complexity. Bottled at 90 to around 92 proof or 45 to 46% ABV, it delivers richer, rounder profile that the standard US expression offers. While remaining approachable and balanced, this whiskey offers aromas of caramelized sugar, vanilla, and toasted oak, followed by a palette of layered with dark chocolate, cinnamon, spice, nutmeg, and a really nice, warm, lingering finish, as the website goes on to say. MSRP on this is going to be around $80 to $90. I'm told that Michters are coming out with more of this than they have in recent times, and you will also see it maybe every now and again at the distillery as they kind of slowly release it, like they do with a lot of bottles. They don't release it all at once, you'll kind of see it hit the shelves every now and again at the distillery in Louisville, Kentucky. This is a bottle that has become more easier to find of late, but still a harder bottle than you'd like it to be, right? You know, you want to walk into a store, see it on the shelf, and buy it. I have a bottle over my shoulder, as you can see there, with the kind of brown label, and that's the one you'll be looking for. That was the Michter's US Bourbon Toasted Sour Mash. Bottle number 3 on this list, and that is going to be the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Heritage Barrel Toasted. So the Jack Daniel's is releasing its single barrel, heritage barrel, toasted barrel, quite the mouthful, right? Which is going to be a premium expression showcasing the distillery's signature finishing techniques. This whiskey is going to be aged at 7 years, and it's going to be 100 proof or 50% ABV, which is going to offer a balanced yet full-bodied experience. The website goes on to say that this finishing barrel process involves extra toasting in specifically selected oak barrels, which enhances the whiskey's natural sweetness and wood-driven complexity. On the nose, the flavor profile and the flavor notes suggest that you might get notes of caramel, toasted vanilla on warm oak, and then when you taste it, the palate will deliver rich brown sugar, molasses, and some subtle spice with hints of some mixed toasted nuts. The finish, I'm told, is smooth along, yet layered with low notes of lingering vanilla, oak, and spice. My favorite part about this bottle is the price tag, $70. So if you're able to find this bottle, the Tennessee Single Barrel Jack Daniel's Heritage Toasted Barrel, whatever the name might be, you'll see the bottle on the screen now here. For $70, I think that's a pretty good deal. It falls in line with a lot of what Jack Daniel's do. Their single barrel proof rye and their regular is all right around that price tag too. So if I see this, I'm definitely gonna pick it up. Is it going to be 700 milliliters? I don't know yet. I wasn't able to find that information. Hopefully it's not, but judging by the bottle, we can make assumptions already. That was the Jack Daniel's Tennessee Barrel Whiskey Single Barrel Tennessee Toasted Heritage Barrel. Next up, we have a new release from the Jim Beam Distillery, and that is the Jim Beam Sunshine Blend. So Jim Beam is releasing its new Sunshine Blend, a limited edition bourbon designed for a lighter, more approachable sipping and cocktail use. This expression combines the classic Kentucky Jim Beam straight bourbon, which is more so their white label, and then they combine it with a whiskey made from brown rice, aged for 4 years, resulting in a smoother, lighter profile, and it's going to be coming in at 40% ABV or 80 proof, which they go on to say is ideal for both sipping and mixing, but I don't know if it's going to be good for mixing, because in my humble opinion, I think that you want a little bit more ABV and proof for when you mix in, especially with the rice in it as well, because I feel like when Jim Beam bring out a product that is mixed with a rice whiskey, it's very subtle. It's more sweeter, more marshmallowy, and I feel like that could get lost in a cocktail. And for me, when I'm making a cocktail, I don't want the whiskey to get lost in it necessarily, which why if you amp it up to around 50% ABV or 100 proof, it's able to stand up into some of those sweeter notes. So I'm not sure if this is good for a cocktail. Again, I haven't tried it, I haven't mixed it with a cocktail. This is just kind of my front end assumption. So the flavor profile on nose, it goes on to say that on the nose, expect floral and fruity aromas with hints of apple, soft corn sweetness. And then the palate is smooth and light, featuring honeyed caramel, vanilla, cinnamon, juicy pear, and brown sugar, while the finish is refreshingly mild with a touch of light pepper and lingering sweetness. The Sunshine blend is great for spritzers, refreshing cocktails, highballs. It's like a Kentucky Sunrise, or like a nice cocktail like a Kentucky Sunrise or apple meal, and also enjoyable and neat or over ice as well. So what I guess they're trying to say is this is a very versatile whiskey. The price tag's great, right? $20 for a 750 milliliter bottle. So I think it's definitely worth a stab. It's also definitely worth picking up to see how different it is from their white label. But I would just like it to be, let's kick it up a little bit in proof here, Jim Beam. Let's get it to the 100 proof, because you're not really competing with much in that kind of proof and ABV tag for what you already have. You don't really have anything that's a bit of a blend of these two components, so why not make it that? I guess maybe it's marketed to like newcomers, people who want to drink something that's really light. This kind of reminds me of something that might be like the toasted basil Haydens. Again, until I get the bottle, I won't be able to make that full assessment, but it kind of sounds like that. I wonder if it's just the same stuff blended, but a little differently, because the toasted was a blend of bourbon and rice whiskey too. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that and see if we are able to score a bottle of that too. Next up, we have a new release from the Old Forester Distillery, and they are back with their annual release of Old Forester Birthday Bourbon. So Old Forester will be releasing its 2025 edition of Birthday Bourbon in this month, the month of September, with availabilities at select retailers around the nation, and also then will be released at the distillery too. Definitely want to keep an eye on some of these bigger distilleries newsletters. Definitely sign up for them. Stuff like Old Forester, Russell's, maybe Michter's too. You want to follow and sign up for the newsletters, so then you get the emails that tells you when to sign up for these raffles. So we will definitely see it more nationwide, but again, it could be held back for more holiday lotteries, raffles, that sort of thing too. So this vintage dated bottle is aged for 12 years and bottled at 92 proof or 46% ABV. It is made using Old Forester's first ever sweet mash method rather than using their usual sour mash method. It results in a more delicate layered profile. The mash bill on this is going to be 78% corn, 18% rye, and then 10% malted barley. Went onto the website, and this is some of the tasting notes that they had. It's going to include herbal tea, cardamom, green apple, tropical fruit, oak, vanilla, and citrus, finishing with candied apple, leather, and chai spice. So MSRP on this bad boy is going to be around $200, which is of course more of a premium mash bill. Definitely something for the collectors and the aficionados and every person who can afford $200, I guess at that point. I was able to pick up a bottle, this guy, last year. Very happy that I was able to, I think I paid $300. Why did I pay so much? Because I've never seen one to be able to get my hands on before. Yes, that is a lot of money, but I'm very happy that I was able to get it, because this is fantastic. However, the proof of the 2025 year release is going to be a little lower than it has been in recent times. So definitely be aware of that. In the past, that it's been a little different. So the 2025 release is coming in at 92 proof. So again, slightly lower than the 2024, that was 96 proof. The one that I have here, albeit I bought it last year, it isn't the one from last year. It is 53.5% ABV or 107 proof. That is excellent. I'm not sure what the fall off will be like when we're talking about 92 proof, but apparently it's told it gives it a little bit more softer, more approachable drinking when you're drinking it neat. So maybe that's the trade-off. I quite like drinking a lot of whiskey, all my whiskey needs, so I don't really care about the lower proof notes. We'll wait and see. Not sure if it's going to be worth $200. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of something like the Michter's 10, lower proof, softer, and that's really hard for me to kind of grasp. If I found a Old Forester barrel, the Old Forester Birthday Bourbon this year, I wouldn't pay $300 for it. It's just because there was the high ABV and proof on that one. I was willing to go a little bit above that. So that brings towards the end of today's video. Again, if you haven't seen the first one, definitely go over to the Whiskey Cove's YouTube channel and go and check that out. We had some excellent bottles on there too. So then you will be armed with the knowledge of what bottles are coming out, what you need to keep an eye on, and kind of what is some of the tasting notes, MSRP, what is kind of the mash bill. So you have all the information that you need. With that being said, we really appreciate you joining us here on the Whiskey Cove as we drink through the world's whiskies one glass at a time. Cheers.